Hello girls and boys. Welcome back to Read Me a Story. Greetings from Hong Kong. I'm Pat Kozyra. Girls and boys, I'm going to read you an exciting book today of Eric Carle's work again. We love Eric Carle books. But first I'm going to tell you about this book. I wrote it, so I'm the author. It's for your moms and dads to read, and they can get it at amazonbooks.com. It's called Tips and Tidbits for Parents and Teachers. And it talks about all the things that I learned in my 50 years in the classroom. And I hope that it will help them to help you with your schoolwork at home. These are just some of the awards that this book has won. All right, so let's go on with our book by Eric Carle. It's called A House for Hermit Crab. Also, I forgot to say hello to my grandchildren, Max and Theo and Josephine and Charlotte, Penelope and Simon. Love you all. Now, A House for a Hermit Crab. Not sure if you know a lot about hermit crabs, but I thought maybe I should tell you a little bit about how they live by telling you this much. Hermit crabs live on the ocean floor. Their skin is hard, except for their abdomen, which is their stomach. That's soft. And to protect this soft spot, the hermit crab borrows a shell, and he makes this his house. Then only its face and its feet and its claws stick out from the shell. That way, it can see, it can walk, and it can catch its food. Now, when a hermit crab is threatened, it withdraws into the shell. He hides until the danger has passed. So that will help you understand him more. Here we go. Time to move, said Hermit Crab one day in January. I've grown too big for this little shell. He had felt safe and snug in his shell, but now it was too snug. Snug means tight, girls and boys. Hermit Crab stepped out of the shell and onto the floor of the ocean. But it was frightening out in the open sea without a shell to hide in. What if a big fish comes along and attacks me, he thought. I must find a new house soon. So that was January. We're going to learn our months of the year in order today too. Early in February, Hermit Crab found just the house he was looking for. It was a big shell and strong. He moved right in, wiggling and waggling about inside to see how it felt. It felt just right. But it looked so, well, so plain, thought Hermit Crab. Plain. That means not fancy. In March, Hermit Crab met some sea anemones. They swayed gently back and forth in the water. How beautiful you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to come and live on my house? It is so plain, it needs you. I'll come, whispered a small sea anemone. Gently, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his shell. In April, Hermit Crab passed a flock of starfish moving slowly along the sea floor. How handsome you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to decorate my house? I would, signaled a little sea star. Carefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and put it on his house. In May, Hermit Crab discovered some coral. They were hard and didn't move. How pretty you are, said Hermit Crab. Would one of you be willing to help make my house more beautiful? I would, creaked a crusty coral. Gingerly, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. Gingerly means carefully. In June, Hermit Crab came to a group of snails, crawling over a rock on the ocean floor. They grazed as they went, picking up algae and bits of debris and leaving a near path behind them. a neat path. "How tidy and hard-working you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to come and help clean my house?" "I would," offered one of the snails. Happily, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it on his shell. In July, Hermit Crab came upon several sea urchins. They had sharp, prickly needles. "How fierce you look," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to protect my house?" "I would," answered a spiky sea urchin. Gratefully, Hermit Crab picked it up with his claw and placed it near his shell. In August, Hermit Crab and his friends wandered into a forest of seaweed. "It's so dark here," thought Hermit Crab. "How dim it is," murmured the sea anemone. "How gloomy it is," whispered the starfish. "How murky it is," complained the coral. "I can't see," said the snail. "It's like nighttime," cried the sea urchin. In September, Hermit Crab spotted a school of lanternfish darting through the dark water. "How bright you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would one of you be willing to light up our house?" "I would," replied one lanternfish, and it swam over near the shell. In October, Hermit Crab approached a pile of smooth pebbles. "How sturdy you are," said Hermit Crab. "Would you mind if I rearranged you?" "Not at all," answered the pebbles. Hermit Crab picked them up one by one with his claw, and he built a wall around his shell. "Now my house is perfect," cheered Hermit Crab. But in November, Hermit Crab felt that his shell seemed a little too small. Little by little over the year, Hermit Crab had grown. Soon he would have to find another, bigger home. But he had come to love his friends, the sea anemone, the starfish, the coral, the sea urchin, the snail, the lanternfish, and even the smooth pebbles. "They have been so good to me," thought Hermit Crab. "They are like a family. How can I ever leave them?" In December, a smaller hermit crab passed by. "I have outgrown my shell," she said. "Would you know of a place for me?" "I have outgrown my house too," answered the hermit crab. "I must move on. You are welcome to live here, but you must promise to be good to my friends." "Oh, I promise," said the little crab. The following January, Hermit Crab stepped out, and the little crab moved in. "Couldn't stay in that little shell forever," said Hermit Crab as he waved goodbye. The ocean floor looked wider than he had remembered, but Hermit Crab wasn't afraid. Soon he spied the perfect house, a big empty shell. It looked, well, a little plain. But sponges, he thought. Barnacles, clownfish, sand dollars, electric eels. Oh, there are so many possibilities. I can't wait to get started. What a nice book. And it looks like Hermit Crab enjoys decorating. I think that you might be interested, girls and boys, in knowing that the lanternfish are just like fireflies. They have bright, luminous, and light-producing spots on their body, and they light up the dark surroundings. And snails, there are 80,000 kinds of snails. Some snails have no shell on their back. So that is an interesting thing. And about the starfish, girls and boys, the arms of the starfish are very strong. So strong it can open an oyster, and it can hold on to a rock during a storm when the waves lash about. So those are interesting facts about those friends that he made in the ocean. Well, girls and boys, I'd like to say goodbye and come back again for another session of Read Me a Story. Bye for now.